Hi, everybody. Welcome to episode 16 of Just Gaming Tingz Podcast. Here we are to bring you an all queer perspective on video games, gaming news, and nerdy stuff every Saturday live on twitch.tv/slash Just Gaming Tingz at 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time and later on today on YouTube and your favorite podcast services. Ooh, that was a mouthful, girlies. Oh my god. My name is Ruby, and I'm joined by the wonderful Chalora. Hi.
Hi.
The wonderful Koga Jangles.
Hello.
And the wonderful Spin Blend. You're muted.
I am?
Oh, now you're not. You're good.
Oh.
I love your
Oh my
intro.
goodness.
Your intro being like, oh, I'm not.
Don't scare me like that.
We couldn't hear you. Okay, anyway, here we are.
Hello.
Well, here we are. I
Here we
guess
are.
I'm also the wonderful Project Ruby. Since I called everyone else wonderful, why not? Self-love. You know what? We love to see it.
Exactly.
Hope everybody is doing well on this wonderful Saturday. It's always amazing to see you all. If you're watching this live on Twitch, you can actually ask us questions as well, related to the topics we're talking about, or just random stuff, really. And so we're gonna do that all at the end of the show after we talk about all the tings, and we have a lot to talk about
So many
on
tings.
just headline tings on this day. So much to talk about. I'm gonna kick off our first story of the day because. EU is fining Valve for restricting cross-border sales on Steam. How rude. We have a little excerpt from CNBC. So, European antitrust regulators have fined Valve and 5 other PC game publishers a total of 7.8 million euros, which roughly translates to $9.5 million, over a practice known as geo-blocking. The European Commission, the executive arm of the EU, said Wednesday that Valve and other publishers restricted sales of video games based on the geographical location of users. Such practices breach EU competition law. The Commission said these practices were aimed at maintaining certain price differences between Eastern and Western European countries and blocking users from shopping around in the EU's single market. The publishers include Japanese gaming giants Bandai Namco and Capcom, American firm ZeniMax, which owns the well-known game studio Bethesda Softworks, French developer Focus Home, and German group Coach Media. Send help. I don't know how to pronounce things. Valve said it plans to appeal the decision. Quote, during the 7-year investigation, Valve has cooperated fully, providing all requested evidence and information to the commission. Doug Lombardi, vice president of marketing at Valve, told CNBC, quote, we disagree with these findings and plan to appeal the decision. Whew, there's a lot to unpack there. What do y'all think? We can start with Spin.
Yeah, okay. I think this is really interesting because, like, basically the whole reason why Valve is being fined for this is because you're supposed to, anybody in the EU is supposed to be able to buy things at the same prices from any other country in the EU.
Mm-hmm.
So if it's region locked within countries that are in the EU, like that's obviously against that. So I think that's really interesting because I know, like even us personally, like have had problems like trying to buy games and like send them to each other recently.
Yeah.
which has been interesting. Because of Steam doing the region lock things.
Mm-hmm.
And I definitely wanted to talk about this and kind of see everyone's input on it. Like, what were you thinking about it, Chalora?
As a Canadian who lives in America and has mostly American friends, it's complicated. Like, I'll often try to buy games for people, or people try to buy games for me, and once you make a Steam account, it's locked to your country unless you provide I think you have to provide some really personal documents, which is kind of ridiculous for just a gaming library or whatever, gaming store. But I can understand there's different market values for each country. Something might be more valuable in one country than another, or there might be different restrictions, taxes, gaming laws, stuff like that, for each country. So I can understand maybe some countries might have more expensive games than others just because of those extra fees and blah blah blah. So I'm not super familiar with the EU and their standards and stuff, but I feel like because I mean, I'm not super savvy on what's going on over there, but I think, I don't know. I think if the games are different prices in every country in Europe, it's just that's normal for me. Because games in Canada are $60 to $80, and then they're $50 to $60 in America, and it's just kind of how dare you? But what can you do?
Yeah. What about you, Koga?
I was trying to get, a better grasp on exactly what's happening with that, because I have no idea how, they hand everything over in, the EU and whatnot. But I mean, I guess it wouldn't just be easier just to have it to where they were make sure that if the price was the same, and then convert it from one currency to another, that it just remained within that same ballpark. I would guess.
And especially
I would assume that would be the best way to go about it.
Yeah, I mean, just do that, because I mean, you can't really go into make another account unless you do other methods that Steam doesn't like, and then they'll ban you for. But if you make it to where the prices are similar, you won't have to worry about about that to begin with.
Yeah. As a EU individual from Portugal, turns out it's not easy to just set up a wish list and for people to buy you games. Because during the holidays, I updated mine, and I bought some. It's interesting because the other way around, it worked perfectly fine. I went into some of my friends' wish lists that are from the US or other countries, and I just went into it and I just purchased the game as a gift, and it worked. But the other way around, it didn't. People were getting geo-blocked from being able to gift me those games, even though the games were also on sale here for the same price or a similar price. And it was just some of them had to go through Humble Bundle through it, and even then one specific case, I think they probably had to sort something out with Steam, because I wasn't able to redeem my code, even though the person paid the same price as I would have paid through Humble Bundle, and the person just had to they just had to get simple Steam information from me, and they were able to make it so that I could redeem that. So it's definitely not just Steam, because they also mentioned others, so I wouldn't be surprised if Epic did that, if other services did that too. I just think it's very shitty and shady that you just geo-block certain sales. And I think that's the bigger issue, because it's become normalized. For example, the PlayStation Network situation, the PlayStation tweets about a sale, and then it's oh, in Europe it's a different sale, in a different time, in a different thing. So I don't know if I would like to believe that a better direction moving forward would be to have site-wide sales that are the same for everybody. And like Koga said, just convert the currency. Have everyone pay the same, but like obviously, you know, the currencies have to translate over to different countries and stuff. But yeah, I just think that would be the easiest way to go about it. I don't understand why sales need to be geo-blocked. I don't know how things in general in 2021 need to be geo-blocked to begin with. So those are my thoughts on it. I just think it's silly. I think it doesn't make sense for certain people to have access to certain sales and for others to not. And it's messy. It's just messy.
Yeah, I was like, the thing that really kind of stumped me about this is like even geo-blocking within the EU, because like it's all like the same, like you can be using euros for like everything, and like the prices should be the same. Like why not? Like that's kind of the thing that kind of confused me, is like why not let people within the EU like shop within other EU countries?
Yeah.
For Steam, like that didn't make sense to me.
I don't even understand I mean, I don't know if the particular countries have to do with the countries that are in the European Union and the ones that aren't. I don't know if they made that distinction. But it is very silly to me.
Right.
Yeah. So that's all. Please fix it. I do like that it seems like there's certain EU laws that are very important to protect users and to protect sometimes companies even. But who cares about the companies? But mainly like to protect users. I do think that this is important, and if it ends up translating and they end up having to adapt to and make it certain like worldwide features, you're welcome, everyone else in the world. But yeah, speaking of users and user-friendly situations and big corporations, we do have a story from a very complicated roller coaster of a story, don't we, Koga?
Yes, we do. All right, so over on Xbox.com, they had this message about how they were changing up the pricing for Xbox Live Gold. Periodically, we assess the value and pricing of our services to reflect changes in regional marketplaces and to continue to invest in the Xbox community. We'll be making price adjustments for Xbox Live Gold in select markets. In many markets, the price of Xbox Live Gold has not changed for years, and in some markets, it hasn't changed in over 10 years. Members have already been notified in some regions. If you're in regions where prices are being adjusted, you will receive an email and a message center notification over the next month letting you know what the new prices is for your membership. The price of 1 month gold membership increases $1, and the price of 3-month membership is increasing $5, or the equivalent of your local market. So what this was pretty much changing it to, where gold 1 month was about, I think, like 11. 3-month, I think, went up to 40, and then the 6-month went up to 60. And the reason why this was such a big issue is because for $60, you could get Xbox Live Gold for a year. So you're now paying double for 6 months, and that didn't work well with the internet. The internet kind of, weren't too happy about it, and this kind of blew up. So later on last night, Microsoft reversed the decision, and then they had this to say about that. We messed up today, and you were right to let us know. Connecting and playing with friends is a vital part of gaming, and we failed to meet the expectations of players who count on it every day. As a result, we have decided not to change the Xbox Gold pricing. We're turning this moment into an opportunity to bring Xbox Live more in line with how we see the players at the center of their experience. For free-to-play games, you will no longer need Xbox Live Gold membership to play those games on Xbox. We are working hard to deliver this change as soon as possible in the coming months.
Ooh.
That was a lot. And this all happened within like one day.
Yeah.
I think
hours later.
Literally.
it was just a few hours. My thought is that they might have been doing this to try to get people more onto Game Pass. I know Game Pass is something that they've really been trying to push, and is pretty much the selling point for the Xbox Series S and X. But there's still people who do use Xbox Live Gold. There are people who don't like, Game Pass. There's a few people who just want to buy a physical copy. They may not play a lot of those games. So the $10 or the $60, for a year would have been more beneficial for them if they don't care about Game Pass. Now, while Game Pass is considered, the best deal in gaming, there was still an option available for people. And this would have mostly taken away because it wouldn't have made any financial sense to do so. So with this decision, the people who, still use Xbox Live Gold, they still keep that Game Pass, still remaining the same. And now free-to-play games will no longer require Xbox Live Gold, which it shouldn't have been required in the first place if you're calling it free-to-play. But, but at least they reversed it and they're making another change. So at the end of the day, it's good, but please don't do that again.
Right.
That was so bad. How do you feel about it, Ruby?
Yeah, I absolutely agree. I think not mainly, but a part of the controversy was the fact that Xbox has been building such a user-friendly reputation. So this felt like a stab in the back for everyone. They were like, wait, we trusted you. You've been making us trust you by making all these user-friendly decisions over the last few months. So for that, I totally understand. It's totally valid. And we do have a comment in chat from Doi saying, I think it's fair that they adjust the prices of games according to the income of people, depending on the country that they live in. And yes, but they did basically the opposite of that, right? They were like, oh, depending on the country you live in, we are increasing the price. So it's like, okay, who are you really helping by increasing the price of your product, right? That was the thing that is not great. I do like that they proved that they are indeed a company that does listen to consumers by like hours later being like, hey, we fucked up. Here's our update. We're not going to change the prices after all. We hear you. We're sorry. And let us also change this thing, which I thought it was weird because PlayStation already does that, where like if a game is free to play, they don't require you to have PlayStation Plus to play it online. So I'm glad that Xbox is following suit with that. Again, like Koga said, just don't do this shit again. Don't pull this again, because like we are rooting for you, Xbox, and you've been doing great things lately, so don't fuck it up. What do you think, Spin?
I feel like it wouldn't have been such a big deal if like the price of the membership went up like $1 or so. Like, because
Right.
for the price of the 1 month membership, it just went up $1. Like, that's not a huge deal. Like, that happens all the time.
Mm-hmm.
But I think what made people mostly angry about this, and I think what made like so little sense to me personally about it, was that they completely took away the advantage of buying multiple month memberships. So like if like Koga was saying, like if you get a 3 month or a 6 month or a year long, it's kind of a bundle deal. So they make it actually like cheaper than it would be month to month.
Mm-hmm.
And they completely took that away. So if you were previously buying your Xbox Live Gold a year in advance and just doing it for the whole year, instead of you're basically paying double what you would have been paying. So I think that's kind of the angle that people were looking at this from, and I think that's a really weird decision. That doesn't really make a whole lot of sense, like especially considering kind of the reputation that Xbox has been trying to build over the past few years. And I know like you're trying to incentivize Game Pass, but I feel like this is not the way to do it. Because there's always going to be some people that aren't going to want to pay for a subscription service. There's always going to be, like, if we're talking about like streaming services like Netflix, there's always going to be some people that want to still buy movies.
Yeah.
Like, because they just want to buy the ones that they want to watch, and they don't want to have to rely on, okay, is it on Netflix? Like that same thing with games. So there's always going to be people who want this other option, and to just suddenly make it twice as expensive, it just seems like a really weird move. And I'm glad that they fixed this so quickly and like listened so quickly to be like, oh, okay, we definitely realized that this was not the move.
Right.
Chalora, what did you think about this?
I feel like there's this is sort of a theme that's happening across online gaming, internet, whatever sort of platforms that are currently benefiting from the pandemic, as everyone kind of shifts to an online gaming platforms or streaming platforms or video, etc. Anything on the internet or the phone.
Yeah.
I've experienced this with my internet provider. I've experienced this with other, subscription services. They're all seeing the influx of, the increase of business and viewership and subscriptions and whatever. And instead of just being like, cool, neat, we've got a bigger platform, they would rather hike the prices just through the roof than to just benefit and just reap it in and take advantage of all the people who are, suffering from lack of jobs, lack of income. And to me, it's just really disgusting. Like, we couldn't just be like, cool, neat, let's welcome in our guests, during this time that everybody is suffering from, and I'll benefit from it. You know what I mean? It's just kind of like gross. So I hope that the way that it seems like Xbox did a pretty decent job of being like, well, that was a shit idea, let's not do that.
Yeah.
Just immediately.
That was probably not the tea. That was kind of rude. Let's not do that again. Which was good that they responded so quickly. But it's unfortunate that this idea of just gain, of greed, is sort of prevalent, and it's irritating to see.
Yeah. It sucks that the thought was even there to begin with, right? Especially from a company that like their like Game Pass Ultimate that does include Gold is like $12.99 a month, right? So like they have this thing that it's a deal that you can have like all of these games like EA Play, Gold, all of these things that are beneficial for people, and then they turn around, they're like, oh, let me make this thing that is not user friendly at all. Like, no, like that doesn't make any sense. I fully agree. And especially during a pandemic, that's a factor that I'm glad you touched on, because I think we all kind of thought it, but we didn't think to mention it because the pandemic is just so normalized to us right now that we're like, oh yeah, we are in the middle of a pandemic. Yeah, of course. Like, so yeah, I'm glad we kind of touched on that. So, and thank you for reminding us of that, honestly, because to me the pandemic is so normalized, and I'm like, yeah, that's also a factor to take into consideration. But yeah. Speaking of, like go ahead.
Oh, I was gonna say, I kind of feel like everything like is kind of just cast through the lens of the pandemic. Like for like last year and this year, it's gonna everything's just gonna be different. Like the way we talk about things is just gonna be different because of that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, like
like
you were saying.
I was just gonna do a transition to our next topic.
Oh.
But it doesn't really make any sense because in this case, they're not really
Right.
listening to. Well, they are sort of listening. Just honestly, just get into it.
Yeah. Speaking of,
I was like, you better be careful talking about dead people.
Well,
oh boy. Well, speaking of gaming companies not being
Okay, that's better.
not making the brightest decisions at first and then changing their tone after being yelled at.
Oh boy. Dead by Daylight announces a colorblind mode after designer complains about players requesting it.
I love that headline.
All right, we've got a little write-up from Kotaku about this. A little over a week after a Dead by Daylight designer became publicly agitated over requests for accessibility options, developer Behavior Interactive has announced that it is working on accommodations for colorblind players. Quote, "This is not how we wanted to reveal this, but we feel it's the right time," the studio's official Twitter account told video game accessibility advocate and advisor Steven Spawn earlier today. "We have been working on colorblind mode for some time now, and we are planning on a release shortly." Spawn had previously asked the developer to answer for statements made by live balance designer Ethan Almo Larson on his personal Twitch stream, which he derided a viewer for blabbing about colorblind mode all the time. "It's getting really boring," said Larson on January 12th. "We've heard it a million times. We know continuing to badger us isn't going to change anything. If it gets done, it'll get done when we have time to do it, or if somebody decides that it's something that should be done. We know that a lot of players want it. We know that it's not a small number. We get it." So,
Well, that was quite the honest.
I have a lot of thoughts and opinions on this, but I want to turn it over to Ruby. I'll go last because I have a lot of things I could say about that.
I also have a lot of thoughts about this. It's first of all, Dead by Daylight does have many issues that remain to be unaddressed, such as one of the skins for one of the characters fully being blackface. So there's that, but also this entire situation could have been avoided if this person wasn't an asshole. But to be honest, if you're a game developer of a game and you're on a public forum like Twitch or anything of the sort, people are gonna yell at you for things about the game. That's just the nature about working in games. People are always gonna ask you like, "Hey, do you have any updates? Hey, do you have any info?" And it's so easy to just ignore them. Or to just be like, "Hey, we hear you." Or I can't talk about what we're working on, but we hear you. But
even like we're working on it, just hang on, would have been better than this.
Yeah, I mean, even if they weren't allowed to technically be like, "Oh, we're working on it," just be like, "We hear you. I can't talk about it because it's NDA." I don't know. I feel like you could so easily get out of talking about that without being a dick. So I think I have a complicated reaction to their answers, because for me, if they were truly working on it, I feel like the person wouldn't have reacted to the fan input like that, because the way that he worded it was like, "Oh, if we yelling at us is not going to change anything," which implied that they weren't working on it. So to me, that's just kind of suddenly they were like, "Oh yeah, we're getting yelled at. We're definitely working on it. We didn't want to say anything, but we're totally working on it." Okay, people have been asking for this for how long now? It's not that the game just came out last month and people were yelling at them for no reason, being like, "Hey, we want this mode." This colorblind mode and other accessibility modes should already be in the game day one. Early access even. It should have been there to begin with. This just I just feel like, especially because the game is so prominent in the LGBTQIA plus scene, I feel like people just need to stop, not stop playing the game, but people need to stop giving this game so much credit and so much praise when there's just so many shitty and questionable things involved in the creation of it, the people involved in it, and I just ranted for a long time, so I'm curious to hear what you have to say about it, Koga.
I don't really play Dead by Daylight except for one time, so I'm not really too sure about how long people have been, I guess, asking for this. Definitely could have gone about this a better way. Like, I understand that, you know, I've been learning this the hard way for the past 6 years, is that, yeah, there will be certain things that will take priority over other things. But all you had to do was let them know, hey, we're working on it. It's on the way. Give us some time. Something like that. That's really all you had to do, and it wouldn't have been an issue. Like, having open communication, you know, with your fan base, especially, you know, in today with social media just being like such a thing, it's not hard to just say, you know, something like that. But you kind of come off as a prick when you know, say it like this. Now, I'm not sure, like, if people were coming at them disrespectfully in some kind of way, and that might have gotten to them. I'm not sure. Because I know people on the internet do that a lot.
Yeah.
But it could have been handled a lot better. It's nice that it is coming to the game because I am colorblind. And I mean, though I don't play it, if you're someone like me who's played something like Puzzle Fighter to where you have to put like two colors together and you find out at the last minute that they're not, it sucks. I mean, it's funny sometimes, but it's not something I like.
Yeah.
So a colorblind option is actually something I think is great, but you know, don't be a dick to your fan base. Unless they're like completely out of control and being rude, then I can understand a little bit, you know, pushing back to, you know, let them know we're not dealing with that. But that doesn't seem like that was the case here, and it seemed a bit unnecessary.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And how about you, Chalora?
I feel like Behavior and the Dead by Daylight team are sort of representative of like Quebec, because that's where they're from.
Oh, interesting.
It's just like not an excuse to be like a product of your location, but just like very sassy, very moody, very a lot of attitude. And I guess that often, well, if not always, comes off as very unprofessional. And I know that like on Twitter and stuff, sometimes they have come to the aid of some people in the LGBTQ2A plus community and things like that. And they've done like a lot of work like with our community, but I feel like they can get in their own head a lot as a company. Like they stick to their guns instead of realizing if there's a mistake. They'll just be like, well, that's what we made, and that's what, you know, we made it, so it's staying because we worked on it. Which is just kind of like, I don't know. I just think that they need to take some time sometimes to realize like, hey, this is not such, this could be improved, or, you know, like I feel like they don't really take criticism. So it's kind of just something that they do. Not saying it's good, but like I'm not surprised is I guess what I'm trying to say. I can see how a colorblind mode would be really helpful. A lot of the icons which have color themes look almost identical, if not identical, which could help like just with clarification, and I don't see how it would be difficult to implement. It could be as simple as just like a number, like they do with sort of the tiers of or prestige levels and things like that. Like just take the number, like the little sticks or whatever, and make it a tier 1 item, tier 2, tier 3, or whatever else it is. And maybe like the skill checks could be just slightly brighter, or something like that. I'm not really sure how colorblindness works, but just I imagine that would help. Would not be difficult to implement. It would be pretty simple in my opinion. But I just know that Behavior is very like opinionate. Like that's just how they are. And unfortunately I don't really know the best route to reaching them, unfortunately. So I don't really see it happening in the future. The same with the racist Bubba skin. They made it, and they feel like they have a right to keep it just because they made it, not because it's wrong, in my opinion. So I think that there's probably some debate happening there. They're probably talking to the original animator and like having a debate, and they're probably like half on one side, half on the other side. I will say, knowing some of Quebec, that they're pretty racist. So they're probably just going to hold on to it for dear life. But yeah, I don't know. I do hope that they change. I do hope something new and refreshing happens. I do hope some more positivity happens in that company, but not seeing it, unfortunately.
Yeah, okay, I have a lot of opinions and thoughts.
Sit down and I listen.
Imagine that for a podcast, having thoughts and opinions.
Thoughts and opinions. Okay. It's kind of in the wider conversation about accessibility in gaming. I just don't understand. Like, do y'all hate money? Do y'all not like money? Do y'all not want my money? Like, I don't understand why you would make your game like not have make it your game so that there isn't a wide amount of people who can play it as possible. Like, you would want at least in my mind, you would want the most amount of people to be able to play your game. It's like, and colorblind people are not an insignificant like part of the population. There's a lot of colorblind people. Like, don't you want their money?
Right.
Don't you want money? I don't understand that. And like, even if you are like an asshole and you don't give a shit about people who like need the accessibility features, at least come at it from like the point of view of like capitalism. Like, hey, if we put in these features, we can get more money.
Right? You don't have to be altruistic. You just literally like make more money. You silly.
Right? Right? Like, and just like the way he like went about addressing it like really rubbed me the wrong way, because it's like it kind of frames it as like, oh, people are just whiny babies, these snowflakes who want accessibility features, and it's like
it's not like it's not like they're yelling at you for like a new character.
Right. It's like people just want to be able to play your game, and people care about your game enough that they want to be able to play it, and you're being shitty to them.
Yeah.
For literally asking for like the basic features to allow them to play your game. I don't understand why you hate money so much.
I mean, are they still
money? Yeah, go ahead.
Are they still like updating the game with like content skins that people have to buy?
Oh
Yeah.
yeah.
That probably could be why. I mean, I don't like it, but like I said, I've learned this like the hard way over the past 6 years. A lot of them will put what will make money first over anything else, because they'll look at it this way: they want to make money first, and this other feature they can add, are people going to keep playing it even though it's not there? If the answer is yes, they're going to go with what makes the money. Like that. I probably will complain about this, but that's been like the biggest thing I've noticed about like Street Fighter V to me, how that game came out. And there was a lot of things that we've been asking for that to this day, one of them we still ask for, but they kept making skins, character skins, and they made money off of it. So it was like, well, what do you expect them to do? I mean, you would love for them to fix this, but financially, did it make sense? Fortunately not, and that's the way some of them go. They go with what will make the most money and what makes the most financial sense to them, rather than the fan base, especially if the fan base will keep playing anyway.
Right.
And that I don't play the game, so I'm not sure like how much it's monetized, but that could be a case of why they just don't care to put it like at the front.
Oh yeah,
Maybe
Dead by
start-
Daylight is DLC galore. Like they update it quite often with like new killers, new survivors, like stuff like that. And it's just I mean, even as we're talking about, it's like why is it that companies look at a, like accessibility or just general features to improve the gamers' experiences? Why don't they look at that as an opportunity to make money? Because like if a game is like buggy and they announce that they're going to fix the bugs, that's a good thing. More people will look at that and be like, oh, they fixed stuff. I guess the game is more playable now, or it's more fun now. So I really don't understand why they have such like a hard time. I mean, I think I do, I guess. Like what Chalora said, I think it's more of a pride thing on their end of like, oh, we made it like this, and if you don't like it, then play something else. I guess that's kind of where they stand on that. So
Yeah, Dave Austin said that very proudly. It's just if you don't like it, don't play it. Play something else. See ya.
yeah, I've seen some examples in chat of people saying that about different topics and different things that different criticisms.
But I think that they sorry, I brain farted here.
Oh, not the brain fart. Well, it happens. Listen.
But I feel like let's say, they're thinking about like accessibility and stuff. They're like, okay, so the people who have played our game are asking for this. So if they played our game, they bought the game.
We're not making
So we
money
already
off
have-
of them.
They
Yeah.
already have their money. We're not making money off them anymore unless they're buying skins and stuff.
Fuck, that's shitty. Ugh.
But it's like
That's how a lot of them are.
Yeah.
I think the issue is that there's these people in the meeting rooms, they're like, but that doesn't make us money.
Yeah.
And it's executed out of the situation. Like you've got two people out of the office that the circle of 10 people at the meeting, and they're like, okay, well, we'll keep bringing it up, but we have 8 people against us every single time we bring it up, and then they don't. They're like, oh, it's not going to matter. It's not going to matter. It's not going to matter. We have to prioritize making money so that we can pay our devs. But then like most of the money, I mean, I don't know. I haven't looked at the distribution of behavior. Hopefully it's good, but I don't know.
I know all those licenses aren't cheap for all the licensed characters.
Oh,
That too,
Yeah.
I suppose.
Yeah, but like I kind of wanted to also touch on like, because they did hurry up and announce that they are working on a colorblind mode shortly after this blew up.
Right.
And I wanted to kind of get y'all's opinions on them doing that, because like from the way that this is worded, the like if it gets done, it'll get done when we have time to do it, or if somebody decides that it's something it should be done. I feel like them being like, oh, we've been working on it the whole time is kind of bullshit. Like,
Yeah. Oh yeah, 100%. The way that the person phrased it made it seem as though they're like, oh, you yelling at it's not going to change, or it's not going to make it so that we do it or not. So it made everyone believe that they're not even thinking about changing that about the game. So it just reminds me of like when Blizzard was under fire for a lot of stuff, and then they were like, we're working on Overwatch 2, and it's like crickets since then, because guess what, they may be working on it, but at the time it was probably very like pre-production, considering like very recently like they're still hiring people for like level designs and stuff like that, so the game is still very much in development, and they just did that for like good PR. So I absolutely don't believe it, especially when they're like, we don't even have a time frame in which it's gonna come out. Like, come on, like you're not working on it, you're just saying it to save face.
Yeah, I do feel like they were just like, quick, somebody make mock-ups for how it's gonna look.
Somebody make a cinematic.
Oh my god, we need to tweet at this person because they're verified.
Right. Yeah, that was kind of my thoughts on that.
Oh yeah, especially because that was an issue before Steven Spawn tweeted about it, but because
Right.
Steven Spawn is such like a noted person in the industry, such a revered person in the industry, that's when they were like, oh my god, they may have a point, and it's like, okay, so fuck everyone else who's not verified.
Right.
Like, thanks. Gee.
Right? Like, not to mention like the people who have been like requesting this for years.
Right.
Speaking of all that wrong, I'm going to tell you about something right. The Lantern Rite Event for Genshin Impact 1.3 update with the new character Xiao on February 3rd. From an article from Kotaku, during a stream, developer MiHoYo announced that the Lantern Rite Festival will be the centerpiece of Genshin Impact's 1.3 update and outlined that it will contain taking place in Liu Harbor. The event will deck the place out in, what else? Lanterns. Because MiHoYo knows what keeps players coming back. Hint, it's hot anime characters. Your first order of business will be completing a story quest centered on a new playable character, Xiao, the Conqueror of Demons. You can find out on the Genshin Wiki exactly what he does, because some people expose that stuff from the beta. But he's pretty neat, and he's a polearm user who has the Anemo element, and he's pretty neato burrito. And I'm excited. I'm excited for this update. It looks like they're adding some new bosses. They're adding this really beautiful event with lanterns and fireworks and photographs and things. The new character is obviously someone we've seen before if you played the game. I wish that they would give some of the new characters some buffness or maybe a little tush, but they don't they don't make characters like that. But everything looks really cute, and I'm excited. What do you guys think?
Yeah, we're just if you're watching this on Twitch and YouTube, we just showed some footage from it. And yeah, it looks really good. It looks like it would be fun. Probably something that might get me back into the game. Let me actually show even more footage because it's still going. I thought it was ending, but it's still going. But yeah, I definitely think I do love how they keep updating the game so frequently and with so much new content. I do think that they do need to address the issue of body types always being the same for every single character.
Absolutely. I think that it's just kind of, it is unfortunate, but I think that they do it because they want to make sure that there's, like, I think they wanted to make a bunch of characters really quickly because the game sort of exploded. So a lot of the characters ended up being just like cookie cutter.
Mm-hmm.
So like we take the old body type of all the females and then they're the same. And then, you know, it's either the small boob, medium boob, or big boob body type. And then the men is almost all the same. Tall, short, or like whatever.
Medium.
They just plaster all the little cosmetics onto them and there's your character.
Yeah.
So they haven't had to make new body types. And I think it would be, really beneficial to make new body types. Maybe a plus size person, maybe a thick person, maybe a muscular person. And that could apply to the females as well. And I think that that's kind of important, is having the representation and the option throughout the game, which I would love to see.
Could you imagine how much the internet would explode if they put a big buff woman in this game?
Yes. I mean,
Yes.
Bido is kind of supposed to be that, but she's not. She's just
yeah. The internet loves big buff women. Give them the big buff women.
Yes. Yeah.
But I am like I'm someone who's kind of like dropped the game. I haven't played in a while. But I might come back for Xiao because like the way he plays seems really interesting. Like he has this ability where he can like go up really high and then come back down and not have fall damage, but he does like a huge amount of damage. And I just think that's really cool. I kind of like that play style, so I might try to get him. And then if I don't, not touch the game for another month.
Yeah, that's valid.
I mean, Ganyu was really cute, and she was just the character that just came out. I love her, but she's not a big butt woman.
Aw.
Yeah, I mean, I do like Genshin, but at some point I was just like, like I was just kind of felt like I was doing the same thing every day, and I was just kind of like, maybe I don't do that for a little while, and then like I haven't been playing it for like a month, and I'm just like, oh, now I have to get caught up. Yeah, Coco, have you been Genshining at all?
I haven't Genshin since around launch.
Ooh.
So
Ooh.
I can't keep up with all these gacha games. It's rough.
That's
It's rough trying to
valid.
play. It's rough trying to play like multiple, especially when you know like how they go and what they eventually turn into, and it's like, oh no. So I mean, I do think that if they're not having variety, they should definitely do that. And I mean, people, I've seen people like summon a lot on this already. So I mean, if you make characters that people want, and then ones that are like good, people will summon. And if they summon, they're buying the currency. They're going to be doing all that. So I'm not sure how. I would assume maybe like a character a month or so.
They release
New characters in every update.
Yeah, pretty much. When the updates are 7 weeks apart, I can't remember.
Yeah, it's roughly about a month and a half, depending on when you kind of pick up the game, or yeah.
But like lately, I think because of the income, like just because they've been like really skyrocketing,
Yeah.
they've been able to make a lot of content really fast, and it hasn't been buggy for me. Well, it's a little buggy sometimes, but they usually hot patch it really quickly, which is they've been really good. Like they've just been doing the damn thing.
Their
I will
team
say,
is
though,
probably huge, considering how much money they make. Their team is probably like enormous right now.
Like, especially for like a free to play game, like I haven't experienced like anything super buggy or like glitchy, so that's amazing, like in and of itself. And just bringing out content so often, I think is a really cool thing.
Even if they don't bring out a new character, they'll sometimes go back into their pool of 5-star characters, and they'll be like, hey, we're featuring this 5-star character, so you have the opportunity to specifically get that one.
Yeah.
And that's good for like people like me who've like missed literally every 5-star character.
Oh.
Well, I think it's nice at least that they like every 90 summons you automatically get a 5-star character.
Yeah.
So if you specifically like save up your summons and you don't get a 5-star character during those summons, you kind of can like make sure that you get a character, which is at least kind of nice.
Yeah, because the event banners like roll over to the next one. So I remember there was I forget which character it was, but I remember being close to getting that threshold and being like, okay, you know what, this event is almost over. Turns out I don't think I care enough about this character, so I'm just gonna save up primo gems, and by the time the next update comes, I'm just gonna do a bunch of pulls. And I think I got like 2 or 3 characters that were pretty good. I don't remember if I got the banner character. I may have. I don't remember. Turns out my memory isn't great, but but yeah, that's a good strategy as well. I feel like I get a good character like every other event because of how long it takes you to accumulate wishes, especially if you play like if you commit to not spending any money on it, like I have.
Same.
Yeah, so I feel like every other update, I get a good character. Don't you hate like when you like save up and you're like, oh my god, this is it, and then you get like a weapon, or like you get the same character, and you're like, okay, constellation, yay, but like,
I mean, some of those constellations are really good.
yeah, but like I want new characters.
I didn't get what I wanted,
But it's
and all my
like,
currency's gone.
I like the drama of getting new characters. characters.
I'm in that part of the game where like you have to level them up, you have to accessorize them with like the artifacts and things. You have to level up their weapon, and then you have to
Yeah.
level up their talents. And it's like if I get a new character and I really want to use them, I have to do all of these things first.
Yeah.
It's a lot of work. Yeah.
Yeah, you have to collect all the experience items to level them up. It's like a whole journey.
I did that for Ganyu, and it just kind of gives you like another purpose in the game, which is kind of nice. But I don't know, it's kind of nice because then you can, the more characters you have, the more like team compositions you can make, and the more like elemental reactions you can work on making too. I think it's really neat, like the system that they've created.
Yeah, oh, absolutely. I really do enjoy that because, like, for example, I love Kaya. He's a ice boy, melee, quick, like sword situation. But like sometimes I would want to have a different ice person so that I can get a different quick character with a different element so that I can, because I like having the 4 different character types and 4 different elements, and sometimes you need to have different characters so that you can do different combinations, so that you don't always have the same melee, you don't always have the same bow and arrow, so that you have at least one healer in your party. So I really like changing that around. So getting new characters for me is fun for that reason, because you get to play around with your team composition. So yeah. Any final thoughts and concerns about Genshin?
Really, I just
Yeah.
If I don't get Xiao, I might not come back to it for a while. Because
You
I
don't
want.
have me on Genshin?
I put my number in the thing.
I don't remember if we did. I think we did.
Well, not this drama.
The long-running interpersonal drama of the podcast.
I
Us not adding
know.
more.
Yeah, us being passive aggressive about not playing games with each other. I love it. You know what else is drama? Resident Evil Village. Listen, we have a release date. We have a demo. We have it all. We have a little write-up from Kotaku. So earlier this week, Capcom did a Resident Evil showcase. They announced Resident Evil Village is coming out for PC, PS5, PS4, Xbox One, Xbox Series X and S, and also Steam on May 7th, 2021. Also announced during the showcase was news of a new demo that will be exclusive to the PS5 for now. The demo stars a character known as the Maiden and will focus on puzzles. So they also showed footage of like a multiplayer game to celebrate the like anniversary, which looks interesting. I feel like they still need some work on that one. But I think it's coming for free if you get Resident Evil Village, so that's cute. They also have a bundle for people who haven't played Resident Evil 7 so that they can get into it and also play Village. So that's cool because for Village, I'm going to show y'all some gameplay footage if you're watching this on YouTube or Twitch. But this game continues the first-person perspective of the previous installation of the game. So, what do y'all think? Are y'all excited for Resident Evil Village? What are your thoughts and feelings of this new entry in the series? Also coming so soon.
I am so excited. I can't wait. I am a little bit disappointed that nothing has been mentioned about VR yet.
Yeah.
So I don't know if they're going to or not. That was how I played Resident Evil 7 for the first time. That was, for me, just the best way to play it. So I'd be a little bit disappointed if they didn't add that here, especially not on PC, because there's a market for it. They just need to actually put content for it. But as for the game itself, I am very excited for it since it's pretty much a direct sequel to 7. So you're playing as Ethan Winters again. So I feel it's going to give me more of that. I found 7, I guess, to be a little bit more scary, and like Resident Evil 2 to be a bit more tense. If that makes sense.
Yeah.
So The game looks really nice. Unfortunately, I don't have a PlayStation 5, so I was left out of the demo. But it's good to also hear that it's going to be cross-gen, because I know not everyone upgraded to the new consoles. So more people will be able to play the game, and I'm really definitely looking forward to getting it. I'm glad it's coming out soon in May, just as long as it, doesn't come out and have a bunch of problems. But
Yeah.
besides that, I'm very excited for that. And I think the game that's supposed to come, was it Resident Evil Reverse, or was it Resident Evil Verse, which is a free-to-play. So I'm going to be honest, I don't really care about that currently. But I mean, it's free, so I'm not. The only reason I would have an issue with that is if it took away from the time they could have made to make the game. Because that was kind of my issue with Resident Evil 3. Because they made a game, it was a multiplayer game that came with that. And the main game just felt like it was like lacking in content compared to 2 Remake. So, I mean, so as long as we don't have like that situation again, I'm definitely, fine with it. But I'm definitely looking to get this day one.
To be fair, it's free if you pre-order or purchase Village. So I don't know if they're gonna sell it separately. I don't know if it's gonna be always tied to the game. I have pretty good hopes for it. I'm not gonna say super high hopes, because it's always kind of dangerous to think that whenever it's like a company like this, because all big companies like this will put profit sometimes over quality. Not that Capcom has really been doing that. Like, I feel like their games have been pretty good recently, like with Monster Hunter and even Resident Evil. I feel like even though Resident Evil 3 was not up to people's expectations, I do think that people weren't saying that it was buggy and it was messy and it was not working at all, right? So yeah, I do have pretty high expectations, because they had a very long gameplay showcase, and I feel like if the game was nowhere soon to be ready, I feel like they wouldn't have done that. So I do believe in them in that aspect. I don't know how I feel, because I haven't played 7, so I don't know how I feel about the first-person perspective yet. But everybody has amazing things to say about 7 and how it's a return to form as far as the horror vibes. But yeah, I don't know if I'm going to get it day one. I don't know if I'm going to wait for a sale. I'll probably try to play 7 beforehand to get a feel for this type of perspective. But yeah, what do you think, Spin?
I have never played a Resident Evil game in my life. Because I'm not really a horror game person, but this looks really cool, and I am really excited to watch other people play it and look through my hands. I am really excited to see it, because I tend to like a first-person perspective when I am like watching somebody play a horror game, because I feel like it is a bit more like immersive. I think that's really cool. But yeah, it's not something that I would play myself, but it does look cool. I also think it's really fun how like the whole internet has exploded over the over the large tall woman with the hat.
Yeah.
I think the memes are great, and I love that about it. That was basically all my thoughts.
Many people on my timeline asking that lady to step on them. So
yep.
many people in my timeline doing so, and valid.
Some on this podcast, maybe.
What?
Maybe allegedly.
Maybe so. But that was kind of all of my thoughts on it. What did you think, Shalora?
I mean, it looks stunning from that view. I also have never played a Resident Evil game, but I remember when Resident Evil 7 came out and everybody was playing it, and so I did watch a lot of that. And it was like decently enjoyable, although like I found it a little tiring, like just too many of the same type of character villains. like the mom and the dad were sort of both these like insane people, and the same with the son. Like it was just kind of like, can we get one character that's not the same like this? Like I don't know, it just in like character type. Um, and so I hope that it's different with this new game, at least from a viewing standpoint.
Yeah.
But I do think it looks really cool. I think it looks really interesting. There seems to be like a lot of like indoor versus outdoor type scenes with those like giants and the bug ladies and the vampire lady. Um, I don't know. It looks really cool. I think that it'll be really good. I think that Resident Evil games typically work really hard on their stories and their sort of themes as well. So I think that it'll probably just be really good, just like the last one.
Yeah. I'm curious to see how this one is going to tie in the Chris Redfield situation.
Is it going to be hard?
That's the main question. As a queer podcast, we must know that. And also, there was an initial trailer that came out when they announced the game that kind of framed him or made it look like Chris was kind of like gonna be, I guess, not necessarily the main villain, but it alluded to him contributing to Ethan's suffering. Or like, why are you here? Like what's going on? So I'm interested to get an answer to that question and see if they're going to tie in with other games Chris has been in. Because I feel like that was a big thing of like with Resident Evil 7. It was almost like, is this a standalone? Is this different from the others as far as like where in the universe this stands? And then by having that tie in with Chris Redfield, it's like, how is this gonna work and how are they gonna tie this in? So I'm very interested in that. I also like that they have a free upgrade if you purchase the PS4 version and the One X version. Like you will automatically be allowed to upgrade whenever you do get a new gen console. So that's cool. Good on them for that. But yeah, I'm just intrigued.
Speaking of other fun video game things
Ooh.
that we're excited for,
Ooh.
or at least I'm excited. Colourpop is collaborating with Animal Crossing in a collaboration that releases January 28th. So we've got a little bit of a write-up from The Verge about this. Nintendo has announced that it's collaborating with cosmetics brand Colourpop on a makeup collection inspired by Animal Crossing and New Horizons. The collection looks to be relatively extensive, including 4 powder palettes that are themed after characters in the game. And we do have a little image of this. They've only released teaser images so far, so we don't know exactly everything that's going to be in the collection, but there looks to be 4 eyeshadow palettes. I'm seeing a couple blushes. I'm seeing a bunch of different colors of lip crayons, gold glitter, cream eyeshadow. And for anybody who's not really familiar with Colourpop as a makeup brand, they do stuff like this a lot. They do like cute kind of collaborations a lot.
Yeah.
And that's kind of one of the things that they're known for. So I am pretty excited about this. I don't know necessarily if I'll like get like what I'll get from the collection. I'm waiting for them to like fully announce what's going to be in it.
Yeah.
Because like I'm just looking back at my other makeup, like, I don't need more makeup. And then I look at this, I'm like, oh, but it's Animal Crossing and it's cute.
Yeah. Again, for people watching on video platforms, I'm showing a little bit of what the revealed palettes are so far. Apparently each of them is associated with a different character, so that's pretty cool.
Yeah, it looks like there's a pink one for Isabelle, like a blue-green one for Tom Nook and Timmy and Tommy. There's like a beigey one for Blathers and Celeste, and then like a purpley one for the Able Sisters. And those are really cute.
Yeah.
Yeah, I also want to hear some of Chalora's thoughts on it as a fellow makeup wearer.
Yes.
I know we also saw, I don't know where the other image came from, but like we were looking at like those giant blush palettes. It's just like one big square of blush.
I
But
love
there's
that.
like a hot pink one, and then there's like a sort of a more subdued peach sherbet, orange pink kind of color, which I'm super excited for. And like some glitters and things. I'll probably only get the blush, but I do find that Colourpop, either it's a hit or a miss, in my opinion. And a lot of times, like, they're, no offense to them, but like often only marketable based on who they collabed with. Like, I think the Sailor Moon one, a lot of people bought it just because they like Sailor Moon, not because the colors represented Sailor Moon. Unfortunately, with that palette, in my opinion, I felt like it didn't represent Sailor Moon as a series, as a character, or as anything. Like, it didn't match her outfit. It wasn't like the colors from her outfit. It wasn't anything like that. So it was just kind of like, I could tell that sometimes they kind of do this marketable thing where, you know, the general public prefers to have more neutral colors, for example. So I know that like the Blathers and Celeste palette, because it's more brown, will probably be more favorable over maybe the Tommy, Timmy, and Tom Nook palette, because it's more blues. Oh, I didn't see those crayons. Those actually look really cute. I want those. But the I do hope that the glitters are biodegradable, but there's no guarantee of that. But you can see from the stream there was like that sort of orangey pink blush, and those palettes look really, really big. So you can get a big brush in there, which is nice. But I'm excited for it. I think they're really cute. I think they're really beautiful. I think the designs are really well done. For this one, I think the last one that they did was SpongeBob.
Oh my god, they've been doing so many.
So many lately. I did see that they're either they have already come out or they will come out with a Mandalorian, like Baby Yoda themed one.
Oh my god.
They do
They
this
know what
thing
they're
a
doing.
lot.
They know what they're doing.
Mm-hmm.
Are they becoming the Telltale of makeup, where they just get all the licenses to everything, and hopefully they don't see the same fate as the original Telltale, because I know they have the same name, different management, but yeah, it's I am not too much of a makeup wearer. I don't hate wearing makeup. I actually enjoy it. But so I would be down to getting makeup mainly for the purposes of like the cute packaging, because I don't know much about makeup myself. So I would probably just like get palettes that are adorable and just like work around them and see what I can do with them. Rather than like getting a palette that works or like is versatile or you can do multiple things with it or whatever. But I do like stuff like this. I like that. I like gaming related things that are not aimed at the bro target audience, right? I do like that there's I feel like lately we are seeing more of like things that are marketed at other target groups that are still gaming related, because yeah, people who wear makeup are gamers. People who love like accessories, or I know Square Enix just recently announced like they're creating a bracelet that not creating, but they're selling the bracelet that Aerith wears in Final Fantasy VII Remake as a purchasable thing that people can actually wear themselves. So I really like stuff like that, where it's like, yeah, people who play video games aren't just looking for like chairs or mouses or I don't know, figures or anime titty mouse pads, or you know what I mean? It's just like there's different audiences to that play video games, and I'm glad that we're kind of seeing the licensing of those kind of be aimed at different target audiences.
Exactly. Koga, do you have any thoughts or opinions?
As someone who doesn't
really
wear makeup.
I don't really, I don't wear makeup. Like, I wouldn't even have the patience. I don't even like sitting waiting for a haircut, so I don't have the patience for
Oh
it.
yeah.
That's valid.
I really, that's why, like, that's not why my hair isn't cut, by the way. It's just because COVID-19 and barbershop. But like, I used to get like twisties and braids, and I'm like, oh my goodness, 2 hours sitting. I can't do that. But I think it is great that they're having a collab like this, for people who are into the franchise, and it's something for people who are, to look forward to. It's not my thing, so I don't have an opinion outside of that. But I'm glad you're all happy about it. So
yeah,
good for me. Good for you all.
I did want to kind of pose the question, mostly for me and Shalora. I did want to kind of pose the question of like, because this isn't the first like video game makeup collab. I know there was like a Tetris one. There was a Pac-Man one with Wet n Wild. So what is like your like fantasy booking of like what video game that you would want to collaborate with a makeup brand? And
Bayonetta.
Bonus for yes.
Because she actually wears makeup. I was thinking like, oh, Final Fantasy would be cute, but like the girlies don't really wear makeup unless they're villains for some reason.
Mm-hmm.
So Bayonetta.
That would be amazing.
Yes.
That would be iconic.
Gimme.
Chalora, did you have one?
I was originally thinking, like, I thought so, like, probably way too hard on this, but I feel like now hearing like Bayonetta, I started thinking of Nintendo, and then I was like, what if there was like a Princess Peach and Daisy palette?
Aww.
Because like we were talking about this earlier, but like I have like the Sugar Pill palettes, and that's kind of like Princess Peach and Daisy.
Oh yeah.
Very, yeah.
Already, so I think I kind of already like that. But I don't know. I think that a lot of times in these sort of palettes, it ends up being catering towards like the general public, with very like neutrals, and then like one bright or outstanding color, maybe two.
Right.
So I personally, I love color, so I would love to see palettes with more colors. I think like something different, something we haven't seen before, or color schemes that are more diverse, or more versatile.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So, Birdo and Yoshi, or like
That would be so cute.
other stuff. I was talking earlier with Spin about like a Persona palette.
Ooh.
Because they kind of play a lot with like very bright and very dark, so you could kind of mix the variants of these overly bright saturated colors with these very dark but like mysterious undertone colors, which is often what makeup is. Like you play with the darks and the lights because you want some things to pop and some things to be subdued. So I think it would make sense.
And especially Persona is so visually striking. I feel like it would make total sense to have like makeup associated with it for sure.
Yeah, I kind of, my thoughts were also, I'm also a colorful makeup lover. So I was thinking Katamari. Like you could have like palettes based on like the different cousins. You could have like makeup like based on like the king. Like there's a lot of different things you could do with Katamari, and I feel like it would be like really cute and colorful. So that was kind of my thoughts on it.
Yeah.
And I don't like remember seeing like a ton of like collaborations with Katamari. Like I feel like there's a lot of like video games that like you see merchandise of a lot, but Katamari isn't really one of those. So I think it would be really cool. I don't know if it'll ever happen, but that's just me like wishing over in the corner. Like, what if?
Yeah, why not? Listen, these makeup collabs end up being so unpredictable a lot of the time. So it's like anything could happen. If there's anything that we learned from 2020 is that literally anything can happen.
Yep.
Avatar palette would be really cool too, like Airbender.
Ooh.
Yeah.
You do the 4 elements, and then like you could have an earth palette, an air palette, a water palette, and a fire palette. And like the water palette could have, you know what I mean? Like you could do like, mostly blues and greens and like ice, and then you have like one really bold red for like blood bending, and then like you can really mix it up with that stuff, because like with the earth palette you could put some metallics in there with the metal bending and the lava bending too. So I think it's really cool.
I think that would be a really cool
I
collaboration.
could see Colourpop going after that, because they really love going after these, like, I wouldn't say cult classics, but you know what I mean? Like those like very passionate fandoms, which that is definitely a very passionate fandom. So that would be cool. That would be super cool. Shall we quickly get into our just playing Tingz? Just a little bit of what we've been playing, what we've been up to and such. We could start with Chalora and go down the line of what everybody has been into these days.
I've just been playing my little Genshin in my league, in my TFT sometimes, and
Hell yeah.
I don't know, just I've been so busy, and then like when I'm in my downtime, I don't really want to play anything too like story based, so I just end up playing garbage games and watching TV. But if we can talk about TV,
yeah. What's playing on your TV?
I've been watching Sabrina, and it's pretty cool because it has like pretty good representation in terms of like women and like trans characters and stuff, which is neat, and gay characters, lesbians as well. And then I've also just finished season 2 of Hilda. I don't know if anyone's heard of that show.
I haven't.
I've seen it on my recommended, but I haven't gotten into it.
It's
I haven't seen
the children's show, but I think that it's pretty good for adults too. Like it was kind of like a wholesome, like warm, fluffy show, rather than like funny or anything like that. But I thought it was interesting because like the first season was good, and then I was like, okay, like I'll get on to the second season. I might as well, and I thought the second season was better than the first season. So,
ooh.
I find that rare for a lot of shows. Is that like
I was gonna say that
it's like better than the other one. So, I don't know. The second season ended with a huge cliffhanger, and I'm just like waiting for the third season.
Ooh, that's
why do
fun.
shows do that?
I know, right? I feel like when they do that, I'm like, okay, you're cocky, and you're like just assuming that you're getting a third season. Like,
yeah.
What about you, Koga? What have you been up to?
Still been playing Beat Mania here and there. I played Tekken a little bit yesterday. It's 2Ps, not 2Ks, not Tekken. What it is that it's a card game that was a combined collaboration with Capcom and is it Gung Ho or something? And it's pretty much like an active card game, which I kind of like because I don't know. I've played Magic the Gathering with some people like years ago, and they would take forever on their turns. And if you could play it online, it's even worse because it's like I swear they just do that for hope to you to quit. So for this one, you kind of can't do that.
That's annoying.
It's like it's the worst. I'm like, y'all should know what y'all doing by now. It's my turn. I'm ready to go, but not everyone is like that, I suppose. So in this one, it's kind of like active, and you're able to both play things like at the same time. So it's not like it's turn based. So I do enjoy that. It came out about like 2 years ago, but I don't know if I'm going to come back to it fully because I'm so far behind now. Outside of that, I played a little bit still of Yakuza Kiwami 2. I'm still not done with that yet. I want to be done before 3, 4, and 5 come out this Thursday,
Yeah.
and then I'll yeah, and that's pretty much all I've been playing so this week.
Yeah, I was gonna ask you if you were ready, because they have like 3 games coming out this week on Game Pass, and I was like, ooh, there's a lot of Yakuza coming.
I'm trying, but it's like it's hard. It's so much to do side quest wise. Like I'm like 30 hours into the game, and I haven't even done everything. And I'm
Oh my
like 2
god.
chapters away from the end. Then there's like 3 other chapters, chapters later on for like another character. So it's like 30 hours in, I'm still not done yet. This is what I'm talking about. This stuff takes forever. I'm not complaining about that though, but it's just I would like to be able to start 3 when it comes out, because I haven't played none of them past the one that I'm playing now. So I'm still going through the series and for the first time.
That's exciting. Lots of content. I have a little bit of everything. So actually a couple of mine were games that I picked up and reinstalled. So one of them for me was Overwatch, which I haven't played in a long, long time. So for me, it's like, who are these people? Like, I don't know a lot of the new characters or newer characters. So I picked up Overwatch again, and it's been cute. Like, I don't play it too much. Like, I usually do a little bit of a solo queue while I listen to a podcast, while I watch a stream. It's kind of like what Chalora was mentioning about like mindless fun. Like, you just want to pick up a game, but like you don't want to think about it. You don't want to like like pay attention to it too much, like as far as like a story or anything like that. So it's just fun to like click stuff, run around, heal, because I'm a healer main. Love Baptiste. He was not a character before I stopped playing, or if he was very new. And getting back into the game, he's so fun. I love those characters where you get to like kill people but also heal. You know what I mean? Like one button is killing, one button is helping, and people don't expect too much out of you as a healer, because your character is also like a participant in the fights of it all. Another game that I picked up is actually a mobile game. It's called The City of Final Fantasy Opera Omnia. I hope I'm saying that right. And it's essentially Final Fantasy, the ultimate crossover of Final Fantasy characters. It's kind of a gacha game as well, in a way. You basically play as like main characters, side characters, villains, all of it, and you basically make up this party, never-ending party of Final Fantasy characters. And I just picked it up as well, like, because the story isn't super, super deep. It's basically like, we're being sent to this world and we're investigating and bad people are doing bad things. And I just like seeing my faves. Like, it's cute to see like Vivi from Final Fantasy IX in the same team as Cloud and Renoa and all of these characters, especially like side characters. Like I have like, I don't remember which one of them is, but like in Final Fantasy VIII, there's like 3 little side characters. There's Cypher, there's Raijin, and Fujin. I don't remember which one of them. It's the blue-haired one, and they're in my team, and like it's super fun. I get super distracted by like leveling everyone up and doing all the things. I'm like, focus on the story. Just focus on the fucking story. So that's been cute. I'm still very early on in the game. As far as other games, I'm still playing Final Fantasy VII Remake on stream. I'm playing Majora's Mask, and I started Tomb Raider 3, the original from that original trilogy, and that's an interesting experience. I died within the first seconds of the game. Because they literally, the first level is like you slide off of this thing and it's like, oh, there's spikes, oh, there's a boulder, oh, there's this, there's that, so there's quicksand, so I almost died there too. So it's just a fucking journey, and I'm excited for the roller coaster of emotions ahead of me. So yeah, I know I said quick, but I've been playing a lot.
No worries. I do have like one quick story from this week that's kind of an update for like a couple weeks ago. So
Oh yeah.
this has been this has been an interesting thing that happened to me this week. A couple weeks ago, or so, I mentioned like being in a brain fog, like with my chronic illness, and trying to play new games that way, and just being completely lost and just wandering around like, what was I? So one of the games I tried to play in that state was We Happy Few, and I picked it back up this week. And so that first quest that I got lost on the way to, I found where I was supposed to go in literally 2 minutes and continued playing the game.
Turns out the game is easier when you're not in a brain fog.
Yeah, it turns out it's a lot easier to play video games or do most things in general when you have full control of your cognitive functions.
Huh. Who would have thought?
But yeah, it was. I played for like the first few hours of the game, and I'm really enjoying it so far, and I'm excited to get more into it.
Nice.
It's not that I would necessarily ever stream, but I'm excited. I always like playing games like in my off-stream time that I'm just like, I would never stream this. Like, let me just enjoy it for myself.
I love that.
Fun. So that's all I had for this week.
Yeah.
You want to do a little wrap up? Tell the people where you can find us. For me, I am Spinblend, and you can find me on Twitch and Twitter at Spinblend. And you normally play like cute games, Nintendo games. We're playing Final Fantasy 13. And I also make soap at Spin Soap Cafe on Etsy and Instagram. Ruby?
You can find me, everything about me at Project Ruby. Not everything. Some of it is private, I guess. Most of it is projectruby.eu. You can find, if I'm live, my streams are over there. My latest video, links to my socials, etc. Patreon, coffee, all of that fun stuff. Like I said, right now, my rotation is Final Fantasy VII Remake, Tomb Raider 3, and Legend of Zelda Majora's Mask. I also have a podcast that is not gaming related. It's everything related, actually, called Breakfast at Ruby's. But yeah, I'm taking the week off, the last week of January off, just to relax and just do things. So, but I'm gonna be back full force in February. So I'm super excited for a lot of more content. I'm obviously super excited to see the next episode of Just Gaming Tingz alongside chat. So that's fun. What about you, Koga?
You can find me here and on Twitch and Twitter at Koga_Jangles. I'm trying to get back in the full swing of things on what's stream, but like I was trying to start Friday. This computer again tried to update, and then that became an issue. Like it's actually trying to do it right now, but I can like not have it do it, but it tries to do it at a certain time.
Oh my god!
So I'm going to either make it to where look, you're just never going to update because it still for some reason gets stuck on boot, or I could just like reinstall everything. I'm not a fan of reinstalling Windows, so I'm just going to make sure it doesn't ever update probably again until I have the time to like sit and babysit. But I should be doing Tuesday. I know Monday they start doing mandatory overtime again.
Oh, not that.
Yeah, that's been a problem.
Capitalism is so ugly.
I play a variety of things. So that's the best way that I can put it because I could be playing Yakuza, or I could be playing Star Fox 64, or I may be playing a fighting game, or just something along those lines. I kind of do want to go through the Yakuza series because like I haven't done 2 on streaming that much. That's mostly because like I'm drained from work and I don't feel like reading all the text. They do have voice acting, but there's certain times to where it's like, all right, or not. There's no voice acting. It's just and then just words. I'm like, I don't want to read all that right now.
Right, that's valid, especially after work.
Right.
How about you, Chalora?
You can find me everywhere at Chalora or Chalora Flora, and I haven't been streaming as much as I wanted to, but like life gets in the way, mental health gets in the way, and you gotta take that time, you know?
Yeah, absolutely.
Gotta take that space. to keep it good and keep it healthy and for yourself sometimes. But I've still been working in the background doing some interesting things for the upcoming Stream Queens newsletter. There's another project coming out for Stream Queens next month, as well as next week on the weekend, which I didn't necessarily work a lot with, but it's sort of like a replica of the disability and mental health panels that we did for Stream Queens Con, but more extended. So we're going to have more people involved, and a couple more events targeted towards discussions about disability and mental health and being in the LGBTQ2IA+, which is really exciting, and it's hosted by 6CBB. Yeah, so that's what I'm doing.
Yeah, a lot of amazing people that you can support here. Our good friend Jam, also, you should support him. His links are going to be in our description, on YouTube, on all of the podcast services and such. So definitely show all of these wonderful people all of the love, all the support. Have an amazing week, everybody. Thank you so much for tuning in and listen to us and watch us as we rant about games and what we love and what we hate about them, or the people that make them. So we'll see you next week. Have a good one. And yeah, bye.